Join channel here over at SubScribestar, now over at Odyssey. So Nelson Peltz says that too much diversity, I'll say, are ruining movies, which sounds a bit offensive, but actually he went a bit further than that. That's why I'm making this video, just because I want to read his quotes. But it sounds a bit offensive, I guess, to the Soy Boys and Rachel Leishman, who is my favorite Mary Sue writer. But the audience is rejecting woke movies, and Disney's a great example. I guess Amazon as well. So he's kind of correct. I mean, Amazon's got the Rings of Power, but they also had before that they had that also the Robert Jordan series that just seems to have disappeared. I forget the name of it now. And I think, were they the ones who did Willow, which went one season? It seems like a lot of these shows are going one seasons. So investor eyeing Disney takeover thinks Marvel movies are too woke. Rachel Leishman with the image of the Iron Man actor rolling his eyes. I don't remember his name. The guy who was in, I almost said Zoolander. The guy who was in that Ben Stiller movie where they film in Vietnam and he's playing a black guy who's playing a black guy or something, Australian. That was a really funny movie. Could they make it today? Yeah, they probably could make that movie today. I don't think they could make something like Airplane today. So, based Disney buyout from Peltz, not a chance. But let's look at a guy who I don't know if he's got a sense of humor or if he's just kind of from a different era, which I totally understand. So anti-woke agenda is taking over the mind of Nelson Peltz, who is probably a left-winger himself. I think he's the guy who goes, oh, he was friends with Trump, and they look at that and they go, well, yeah, that means Trump is so extremely far right. And most normal people look at that and go, if you look at his politics, he's actually really not far right. That's just kind of, and most to the people who are on the far right, obviously everything's a spectrum. But if you look at his actual policy and what he's done, it's like he's just pretty much, I would say, he's left of center. Anyway, so he's trying to take over 2 board seats at Disney, and his complaints about Marvel sure are nonsense. Says Rachel Leishman, who has some house plants and some cats. And Peltz is, running billion-dollar investors, mutual funds, and whatnot. Imagine talking out of your butt like the man very much, like this man very much is. That's a pretty awkward sentence construct. She writes like the oh-so-random girl who thinks she's punk rock but is kind of turned into her mom. Peltz wants to make a change despite not knowing anything. Well, I mean, again, billion-dollar investor probably knows something. He might, I think she means he doesn't know the creative side of movies. That's really kind of not, that's kind of a moot point because the movies aren't making money. So it's like, well, anything you do is going to be improvement on losing money. And he wants to turn Disney around. I think that ship has sailed. I think all of Hollywood is that the Hollywood ship has sailed, and people think that's so crazy to say. It's like not that it's going to go away. It won't, because there's enough consumer cattle debt slaves out there who need their bread in circuses. But it would be like opera. Opera's still around, but for sure, and people are paying $300 for a ticket, so it's going to a very small audience. But opera's not in the public like it might have been 200 years ago. So in an interview, he's confused as why the Marvels had 3 women in it. I think it had 4 women in it. It had 3 antagonists or protagonists. The only one who was at all interesting was the Ms. Marvel. She at least had a sense of humor, and the other 2 chicks were just plain stoic, angry women, or very serious-looking women. It's like nobody wants very serious. People want cute, funny, sexy women, and if you're not going to be that, the movie's probably not going to do well. How well did that do? How well did Madam Web do? How well did not Black Adam? Shit, was the movie Scarlett Johansson? She's riding around on a motorcycle. Whatever the hell that was. How well did that do? And speaking of that, and Black Adam, Black Widow and Black Adam, it's like both those movies lost money. So why do I have to have a movie that's all women? Not that I have anything against women. Keep them in the kitchen. Keep those sandwiches coming. But why do I have to do that? Why can't I have Marvels that are both? Why do I need an all-black cast? Based? Though, of course, Black Panther did make money, so credit to that. But Disney's had a long string of failures, and also including their animation department. And then they have the best IPs in the world: Pirates of the Caribbean, Disney, Marvel, Indiana Jones. They have that entire genre. Obviously, the actors aged out, but it's like you can keep that thing going if you want to. And then they have they got another IP that they just absolutely destroy. What was the name of it? Oh, the superhero genre and the Star Wars genre. So some background: Disney is run by lizard people who are pushing this far left, toxic, woke, just absolute cringe movies. Disney's going left, and the audience is not going with them. And I don't know how to talk about this on YouTube. The audience, there's a growing movement in the audience that is just tired of Hollywood attacking one group of people who look like you, knowing my audience. People are not tired of superhero movies. That's a deflection cope from the media that defends them. And people are tired of all this, like with the Sweet Baby Incorporated and Black Girl Gamers, and then you see the Kotaku, the CBR, those kind of terminally online magazines for the 30-year-old cat ladies who are defending these people, and there's no nuance, there's no balance whatsoever. It's just Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn 2014 all over again, and it's 100% of the media is just kind of like, it's not 2014 anymore. And that's not just in video games, it's in Hollywood too. It's things have moved on where there's a bigger division now where the right, there's a small but growing movement of the right who's moving further right, and the left is moving further left. So it just means but the thing is, the left controls the pop culture, which is fine because you don't need any of that pop culture. Hard to say on a pop culture channel, but video games and movies and comics or something, when it's all crap, and it's the intermittent chicken experiment where the chicken has to get enough of a reward to keep pecking at the button for that psychological experiment. But you look at movies, video games, and stuff now, comics now especially, and there's no reward, so the chicken gives up on pecking at the machine. And there's a crossover experiment when you find out, like, well, how much of a reward do you have to give it? But you look at Hollywood, it's like, oh, it's all crap. That's why people are falling behind in the movies. Because there's not even some new Disney Marvel thing comes out, and you're gonna see it and review it for the channels. No, it'll be crap. I mean, it won't even be fun crap. Whether it's Madam Web or the Marvels, Captain Marvel Part 2, what was that called, or the Eternals, or all the other. The animation is even worse. So Disney's going left, and the audience is not going with them. People are tired of these left-wing globalist propaganda. They make this just cancer movies that are only for fat pussy soy boys or cat ladies who just hate the world. But can you make some right-wing tribalist, nationalist movies that have an entirely different concept? It's like, obviously they're not going to do that because they're full out globalists. The idea of nationalism and tribalism and group preferences to even make movies for a right of center audience, they look at that like, no, that's not going to happen. And it's like, well, it's like Hollywood is so slowly shrinking. You've got a list of these Disney movies that are losing serious amounts of money to the point where he's trying to step in and turn Disney around, and I don't think there's a chance in hell of doing that. And the funny thing is with these stories that they're using to destroy the original source material with race swapping, and Pirates of the Caribbean is a great example. You probably didn't see it, or not Pirates of the Caribbean, Peter Pan. You probably didn't see it because these movies are in and out, and they're just like, they've just disappeared. It loses another $50 million. It was Peter Pan was instead of an English characters, it was an Indian character instead of the Lost Boys, because girls are too smart to fall out of their prams. It was a bunch of black girls who were playing the roles of the Lost Boys. That's where we are now. A lot of remakes. They're just absolutely friggin' horrible. The next Star Wars movie is Daisy Ridley. It's going to be interesting to see if that loses money or is just to fail. All it has to be is just not a hit, because people look at Star Wars and go, you should be riding this Star Wars wave. You should be printing money. You have no excuse. You have the greatest IP name recognition, and you absolutely destroyed it. Same with Pirates of the Caribbean. The new one's coming out. Indiana Jones. Great. So 3 out of 5 movies, Mangold, and you ended the genre because Harrison Ford's in his 80s with a bomb. Congratulations, because you just had to make a movie about, oh gee, the Germans are the bad guys again. for 3 out of 5 movies, they're the bad guys. That's weird. Yeah, obviously that's weird. It's like, oh, it's so topical. Are you trying to draw some comparison to modern life? Yeah, people are not into it. And that movie probably cost $300 billion to make. It was a high budget movie. So time traveling Hugo Boss. Really, I'm really not into like the whole World War II. In fact, I never want to see another movie about World War II themes whatsoever. And they hear that and they go, that must be a far right dog whistle. Yeah, not wanting to see crap is a sign me up for the far right. So the funny thing is with these movies is they're taking the original source materials is all from, it's like a cargo cult because they're taking these European male writers. Little Mermaid was a great example. Hans Christian Andersen. And all they can do is race swap and destroy them. They can't make their own stories. And I got into an argument or discussion with someone on Twitter about 77 Star Wars. I said, you got to stay with the original vibe of that original trilogy. It set the tone, and you have to stay within it. And you look at modern Disney, it's like, oh, this bears no relation to 77 Star Wars. And the girl is answering me. She goes, wait, but surely you don't mean make it all white? Yes, that's what I mean. That's the original tone. If it was all blue people, you would have to make it has to match the original tone. Once you start changing things, you're making propaganda. And they just can't get their head around that, because to them, everything is a vehicle to carry this propaganda message, and it's just so effing cringy. It's you really got to be a really good writer to disguise propaganda, or do it so slowly you boil the frog. That's what CNN and MSNBC and Fox were able to do. They just keep moving the window millimeter by millimeter to the left that people don't even notice how far left their values are. Where to the point that conservatives are raining waving around rainbow flags and whatnot. And they go, oh, you're not some kind of istaphobe, are you? I'm like, you're conservative? How? What have you conserved? Conservatives? Anyway, can we get like tribal, pro-European, pro-nationalist, pro-Christian, even patriarchal? Can we get blonde-haired, blue-eyed people being the good guys and non-blonde-haired, blue-eyed people being the bad guys? Can we get just a few movies like that? And they look at you like you have two heads. They can't believe that someone could say such a thing. The thing is with them, evil can't create. So they really, all they can do is race swap. Like Rings of Power is the best example because it's so atrociously bad. And they spent $750 million on it, and it's not even going to break even. Because and then they had the Wu flu, which I guess caused some kind of delay. I didn't take the Wu flu very seriously. I hope you didn't either. Wash your hands and whatnot. But hashtag pure blood. I'm so glad I am, buddy. Where's I going with this? Oh, so Rings of Power, right? It's this isn't Lord of the Rings. This is anal sex. Yeah. It's a threat to our democracy if you don't bend over for Amazon. Evil can't create is my point. And so they use these stories as bait and switch. Like, so these white male European writers, they're like gods to you, aren't they? The whole Ubermensch, Untermensch concept. It is like a cargo cult. Can you guys just write your own stories? No, they can't. There's actually a longer video behind that. But I mean, it's with a lot of the stuff on YouTube, how many times can you say this stuff sucks? And the problem is talking around the stuff and not really being able to really get into it is kind of a challenge. It makes it interesting. Like, how much of a video can you make that was just all euphemisms? That'd be kind of fun to do. I thank God this channel actually does not have a whole lot of haters, which is a good thing. Anyway, so evil can't create. I guess if you start the video calling these like obese soy boy pussies and lonely cat ladies jerking off in their bathtub, you probably alienate a lot of left wing, which is a good thing. So all they can do is race swap these characters, and Disney is starting to lose money. Hey, dear Disney lizard people, it's the woke anti-white hatred that's the issue. Oh, no. People are just burning out of superhero movies or Pirates of the Caribbean or all these other, IPs that they own the rights to. No, not necessarily. It's because you're making them woke, and then they lose their mind over that. It's like, but we're not globalists. We're nationalists. We're tribally based. you really gotta. I'm trying to encourage people to get more. Tell people what you want. Can I have hot chicks, hot young 20-year-olds running around in the bikinis? Can I get more of that? Obese, transsexual, furry otherkin. Is that what you want? No, not at all. But I suspect that's what we're gonna get. You can't make every movie with blonde man bad because blonde people are really awesome. I mean, the proof is, or European people must be, like I said, just total gods to these people because they can't write their own stories. All they can do is take these. Why don't you take if you want to tell some other story? Why don't you take the original IP from another group of people and tell that story? Tell some Nigerian story set with Nigerian characters in Nigeria. No, we're just gonna take, I don't know, some other story, and they're telling Romeo and Juliet now, and there's they're race swapping the characters. Anyway, I think Disney is willing to burn everything down before they change course. I don't know if he has enough what a plurality of shares or whatever. If he can get enough support to take control of the company. And even Lucas came out and is supporting Bob Iger and Disney. It's like, it would have been better just not say anything, or would have been better not to sell the rights to Disney. It's like, I made $4 billion. Yeah, but you were already rich beyond rich. What have you done with that money? I don't think you did anything creative with it. And like, he got his feelings hurt over not getting the reception with his. He made, if you didn't see the prequels, they're kind of like too much Ewoks and cutesy type of stuff. Except I got out of that movie with my buddy, and so that Jamaican stereotype, that was kind of weird, right? And I didn't even notice the merchant stereotype. My buddy points that out, and so we're talking about these two stereotypes in the movie, and that was like in the 90s. It was just a little weird. The Rastafarian thing I thought was more offensive than the little flying merchant. But the more you look at his movies, look at George Lucas, interesting. Lucas hashtag our guy. So she's saying he doesn't understand Disney movies, but if they're already losing money now, then any direction away from losing money is going to be a direction to the positive. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.